Small-scale livestock keepers, whether in India, whether in Uganda, whether in Argentina, we all have similar issues. Small-scale livestock keeping is a very big contributor to the economy of the country. Most of us who keep livestock are the ones feeding Uganda.
In Pakistan, we are exporting buffaloes, cattle, sheep. We are the 5th larger milk-producing country in the world. That all come from the small livestock keepers, though they are not supported by the government.
The question is then, how will we be able to support these people to contribute into the national economy and be partakers of community-level growth and development?
In many areas, smallholder production of animals is still connected to crop farming. So the nutrient cycling and the internal integration of crop and livestock activities, the buffering of labor demand, the making use of material that otherwise would not be used is certainly benign from an environmental perspective.
Counter to people's expectations, it is often less expensive to produce in more traditional ways. And the reason for that is the intensification in some ways lowers the cost by having more animals, having a lot less labor, etc. But in other ways, it raises the cost. It's much more capital intensive. There are more buildings, there's more manure handling systems, you have to have ventilation systems. There's just a lot of inputs of all kinds of different resources. When it's looked at more holistically, the systems are not economically more efficient.
I think there is a role to be played by modern industrial farming, but that needs to be reformed. That needs to be more benign in terms of environmental objectives. That needs to be more conscious of the health risks involved, and that also needs to respect some basic animal welfare standards, which not everywhere are being implemented.
My nightmare is the corporate takeover of livestock systems. If agribusiness would take over livestock keeping completely, we would lose the cultural diversity, the biological diversity, small-scale livestock producers, and a whole wealth of knowledge and wisdom which has been a part of our collective human history for over 10,000 years.
I think the primary investment should be investment on people. And that's how I see it. Appreciating the value of livestock keepers. It also requires recognition of the inner knowledge that is within the small-scale livestock producers, but at the same time it's also creating a policy environment.
I feel very strongly, based on my own experience, that the best way to go is not aid-oriented way, but a business approach. It could be a freezing unit, it could be a packaging unit that buys produce directly from the small producer at a decent price and processes it, packages it, and makes it suitable for market.
Sometimes we think that we have the right, because we are poor or we are smallholders, to access the markets. That is not true. In the real world, you have to access the market with price and quality. We need to convince the consumer that it is important to buy things for them, but because there's quality process behind and the characteristics of the products are very well done.
The women, they are working with this local breed to make textile with the traditional looms, to make traditional products to sell to the tourists. They have preserved this local breed. This sheep is a symbol of their culture. These women, more than 300, are organized in an NGO and have a lot of power.
The important thing is to connect smallholders to growing markets. It is only through growing markets that you will be able to sustainably and long-term better their income position. And that requires knowledge, so you need to have some sort of training, the extension that gets the basic technology to farmers. But you also need to have the market infrastructure to deal with products and market these products. And I think the key here is also to look at collective forms of management, collective forms of input procurement, and collective forms of marketing, because single farmers will not be able to supply the volumes and to apply the strict sanitary and quality standards that you need to have in order to connect to formal markets. And the growth is formal markets.
The key factor is to accept our livestock keepers' rights, take them on board while formulating any policy related to animal genetic resources, related to livestock production systems. They must be the part of the policy. That is the most important thing. And secondly, they must have the right of access. Their lands are being grabbed. If our rights are being accepted, we can produce in sustainable way.
If we come together and we have one voice and try to talk to these international policy makers and they can understand our argument, I'm sure it can have a very big effect.
I think livestock keepers are getting a lot closer to getting a voice. Policymakers are beginning to realize the need to engage with the small-scale livestock keepers so that they always, as a matter of fact, are integrated into policy-making processes. So I'm expecting a breakthrough pretty soon.
जो जंगल मिले माने अधिकार, जंगल का अधिकार मिलता तो फिर फसल ने खाद अच्छा मिले, मौस भी अच्छा मिले. आज देसी नस्ल, पुरानी नस्ल हमारे पास है, तो खाना ही मौस ही बहुत अच्छा मिलता है, फिर दूध ही अच्छा मिलता है, ऊन ही अच्छी मिलती है, खाद भी अच्छा मिलता है, तो लोग फसल कमाता तो कोई सब्जी है, गेहूँ है, जो हर एक चीज़ निप से जो मवेशी खत्म हो जाए तो बस फसल ही खत्म हो जाए, खाद मिलेला नहीं टाइम आते तो वे लोग कैसे खेती बाड़ी करेला.